Today, we're going to be taking a look at my income versus my expenses and finding out if I can actually afford to live the life that I'm currently living. Hi there. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. And if you're returning, welcome back. My name is Kate. I'm a 29-year-old Australian and I started this channel to share my experiences with life and mental health. Today, we're going to be looking at my financials and my budget. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, and I'm glad I finally got around to doing it because it's something that I really need to do for my personal life in terms of finding out if I can actually afford this life. But I did also want to share the experience of finding out if I can afford it with you guys, so I didn't want to do it ahead of time without recording it. This is not how I would normally budget. For my regular everyday budget, I use a software called YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. It's a cloud-based budgeting system that uses a zero-based budget as well as like a digital cash envelope system. I'm only using money that has already come in to budget with. I'm not predicting how much money I'm going to make that month, which is a really great system and it's my preferred way of budgeting. It does mean that I have been relying a little bit on my savings lately. I'm mostly playing catch up. Whenever I go to budget, my money's come in and I often just have to budget it towards things that I have spent money on in the past week that I hadn't planned for. Things like Uber Eats and going out for lunch with my work friends, stuff like that. So today, rather than just sitting down and allocating my money to its jobs for the next week or so, we're going to have a look at my actual regular income and my regular expenses and see if we're coming out on top or not. Previously in my job, I was able to work 4 days a week, but still doing a standard 38-hour work week. They actually took that opportunity away this year, and so now I'm still working 4 days a week, but I'm only doing 30 hours, which has definitely reduced my hours and therefore the money that I'm making. I also calculate my net worth at the end/start of every month. At the end of January, it had actually gone down, but at the end of February, it did go up, but only by a very small amount. So I need this overview to get a better idea of where my money is actually going. I have prepared a spreadsheet for going through this with you guys, so we're going to jump on over to that now. I created this spreadsheet with the intention of it being a template that I could potentially sell on Etsy. So if you're interested in this template, please let me know so I can set it up in my Etsy store. But we are going to have to change around a lot of our categories because they're currently named very generic things. So first of all, I have two main streams of income. The first is from my regular job, and the second is from my partner. So basically, I pay all of the expenses that we share, stuff like our rent, our electricity, our groceries, all of those sorts of things. I pay for them, and then he sends me money every week to cover those expenses. I'm just going to delete the rest of these incomes because those are the only two incomes that I have. Determining my income is a little tricky. I am paid hourly and I am only working 4 days a week, but I will often end up taking extra time off. I had to have 2 extra hours off yesterday afternoon to make it to an appointment, and I did a similar thing a week or two ago, and then occasionally I have to take a full day off for being sick or something. So a full week of pay for me working 30 hours a week would come out to $902.50. However, I'm going to dial that back a little bit. So based on the fact that I've now had 2 weeks where I've taken an additional 2 hours off, I'm going to use that amount as my base salary, which would be $870.40, and that is a weekly income. My partner then sends me $350 every week to cover our joint expenses. I'm now just going to run through my YNAB budget and list out every category that I have budgeted for in there and move them into the correct categories inside of my Excel spreadsheet. All right, now that we've got all of those listed out, let's start going through and seeing how much each of them are and how often we're paying them. So our rent is $350 every week. Our groceries obviously will be a little bit variable, but we do try to stay under $150 every week. And on average, we do usually achieve that. Some weeks we'll spend more, but some weeks we'll spend less. And overall for the month, usually works out to about $150 a week. Our private health insurance is $98.41, and that comes out every fortnight. My car insurance is also a monthly payment, so that will be $84.07, and that will come out every month. All right, car registration actually probably should be a sinking fund. I'm going to leave it in my expenses because it is something that I have to pay in order to keep having my life stay the way it is without any ridiculously major changes. I'm currently budgeting for this every month as if it were a sinking fund. So currently I'm putting approximately $80 every month into that one. Roadside assist, again, is another one that is paid yearly that I'm budgeting for every month, and I budget $8 for that one every month. Our electricity is on a bill smoothing plan, so while you would usually get your electricity bill quarterly, at least in Australia for most of what I've seen, we actually pay a regular amount every month. And so that amount is currently $112 once a month. And our gas, same thing, but it is only $22 a month. Internet and phone, I'm currently paying $113 every month, and that is for my mobile as well as our NBN internet. Transportation is one that I haven't been doing a very good job of budgeting a standard amount for every month. I used to drive to work most of the time, but I've recently started catching public transport, and so I never really quite figured out how much I need to be budgeting for that. Luckily, YNAB does a really cool thing where if I click on the category, I can see my average spent for every month. My average is $108.48, but last month was $153. So I'm going to go for $150 per month for transportation. So that'll include fuel as well as my public transport. We only recently started getting charged for water, I think when the new owners bought our property, but I am currently budgeting $80 per month for our water bill. Our hot water we have been paying since we moved into this place, and it is $65 every month. So currently we're still in the green. We have $506 left to play with for the rest of our categories. So we're going to see how this goes. This should be covering all of our big expenses with the car loan added on as well. So hopefully we're not too bad, but we're going to keep going through and we'll see how this works out. Now, my car loan is actually $183.38 every fortnight. I only just realized that was $500 left per week. That's actually really good. I was surprised how well that came out. We're now down to $414.72 left every week to cover the rest of our expenses, which I don't think is too bad, really. All right, Zombies Run. This is my couched 5K program that I'm paying for at the moment. Hopefully I'll be finished that within the next month and then I can cancel that subscription, but it is $9.99 every month. Microsoft Office, so that is currently $9.34 every month to cover the yearly payment. Disney Plus, again, I have on an annual subscription, same with Amazon Prime, so I'm currently budgeting $12 every month to cover that one. And Amazon Prime is $5 a month. Our Nintendo Switch subscription, we're on a family plan, so it is actually only budgeting $1 every month to pay that yearly subscription. YNAB, again, is a yearly one, and I'm budgeting around $17 a month to cover that. All right, this is going to be the probably a little bit scary to look at category. I have not really been budgeting for these. These are the ones that I'm usually just covering with the money that I've already earned. So what I'm going to do for these ones is just look at my average spending and use that as an indication. So for drinks, my average spend is $476.88. I'm going to put $500 in there every month. That took it down a lot. For dining out, average spent, $676.59 a month. That's insane. I don't even know what to do with that information. Let's put $680 in here every month. And fun money is around $500 a month. And there goes all of our money. Thankfully, that's not actually the correct amounts. I must have still had something ticked in a previous spot, and so I've added two amounts together. But our average for drinking, thankfully, is actually only $37.89. So we're going to put 40 in there. For dining out, the average is $250. That seems more reasonable. It's $237.60. I'm going to put $250 in there. And then for fun money, it is $68.92, so we're going to put $70 in there. Dining out is still probably a little bit higher than I want it to be. This year I've been spending a lot more of my dining out money. I've actually made some friends, which is a little bit crazy for me. And, we've been going out and having lunches and dinners and some after work drinks, things like that, which have actually been amazingly fun and very out of the ordinary for me. When we do order things like Uber Eats, we do like to eat quite nicely, so we'll often go for the more expensive restaurants rather than just getting something from McDonald's. So it can be quite expensive with the two of us, myself and my partner, both buying food from some quite nice restaurants. And we will usually have leftovers as well, so it's not just that one meal costing that amount, it actually gives us leftovers for a few days afterwards. And so we still have $319.11 left over, which is fantastic. For my sinking funds, the Reggie fund is actually the only one that I am actually budgeting for regularly. So I put $150 every month towards Reggie. That does include things like his food, which we have on a repeat delivery anyway, which would be more like a standard expense. But it does also include us saving up for his medical expenses and things like that. So it's a little bit of both, so I put it in the sinking funds for now. I was going to the hairdressers pretty regularly, but I have changed my hairdresser recently and they are a little bit more expensive, so I haven't found a schedule that quite works for me with them yet. But I was putting aside $30 every month for my hair, so let's leave that in there. I'm going to leave most of the other categories blank for now because I'm not really actively saving towards a lot of these sinking funds. Medical, I do need to put some stuff towards, so let me take a bit of a closer look at my medical funds. So I see my psychologist once a month. Her fees are $245 a month. I do get part of that back from Medicare because I am on the government mental health plan. If you're in Australia, talk to your GP about that, please. It's amazing. So I do actually get some money back from Centrelink for that, but I also want to have the money available to pay the $245 because you have to pay the money and then they will refund you back. And I do usually get the refund back in my bank account before it's taken out, but I still need to have the money there in my savings account in order to pay for the psychologist while I'm there. So I have that strict $245 every month that comes out, and then there are often additional medical expenses as well. So I think I need to put $300 a month towards my medical expenses. I didn't mention earlier, my car loan is my only debt that I have at the moment. We're getting pretty close to paying that off, and I actually really want to try to pay that off this year, which I think is only going to be 1 year early, but it'd just be really nice not to have that expense anymore. So in my debt extras, I have car loan, and in order to pay that off this year, I'm paying $250 a month extra onto that car loan. So that leaves us with $150 a week to cover what remains of our sinking funds, which I'm not actively saving towards, and also our savings and investments. Something that I'm really trying to do this year is to put 10% of our income directly towards our house deposit. If our income weekly is $1,220.40, then I am going to put towards my house deposit $122 a week. That leaves us with only $28.64 every week, $124.12 per month. I think I should be putting at least an extra $50 a week into some form of sinking fund. I think I need a sinking fund for my sinking funds. I think that's something I'll do when I set up my budget, is that I will just have a single sinking fund category. Once I start building these categories up, I would like to separate them out and have different amounts and be saving towards each one of these categories on a regular basis. But for now, I think just having one main category to cover all of those sinking funds will be a good idea. So that puts my total expenses at $5,164.28 every month. This has so far been a pretty high spend year for me. I started the year by buying a $1,000 laptop that I hadn't really budgeted for. And as I said, I have actually been going out with my friends a little bit more often and buying a few things around the house. I went out and bought some clothes for myself, which I haven't done in a really long time, and I definitely needed to do. But it is not a regular spending for me. But I think working off of this spreadsheet, we're still looking pretty good. Definitely not as good as I would like. We're not putting as much towards savings as I would like, and we only have $124 left over at the end of every month to cover the remainder of our sinking funds plus any savings that we have. The other thing I did with this spreadsheet is set up a bunch of charts. So let's take a look at those. Alright, so here we can see our expense breakdown. 60% of our expenses is going towards our immediate expenses, which is about correct. It would be nice if we could get that a little bit lower and have more going towards savings, obviously. My savings is actually 10% of our expenses, which is better than I expected it to be, but does actually make a lot of sense because I was saving 10% towards my house deposit. We can also see that 71% of my income is from my own job and 29% of it comes from my partner. Overall, my total yearly income versus expenses, our income is around $63,460 and total expenses $61,971. And we can also see here our income versus our expenses in weekly, fortnightly, and monthly. So our weekly income, $1,220.40, and our weekly expenses, $1,191.76. And same with monthly and yearly. And over here, I have also done a chart that just lists out all of our expenses and shows them as a bar of how much is going towards them. So obviously our highest expense is our rent. Nothing surprising about that. Followed by our groceries, then our house deposit savings, and our car loan. None of those are really very surprising to me. Thanks so much for joining me for this today. So overall, we are in the positive every month, which is fantastic, but it's not as much as I would like it to be. There are obviously a lot of strategies out there to try to increase your profit every month by either increasing your income or decreasing your expenses. I definitely want to try to keep an eye on that dining out category for me and probably try to have less lunches out, as enjoyable as it is. And I have also been looking for new jobs. Trying to get something permanent would be amazing, and therefore get things like sick leave, which would mean that I can actually have a full week's worth of pay every single week and make sure that income is being consistent. Inflation has been hitting a lot of people hard lately. If you have any strategies that you've been using to combat inflation, please let me know down in the comments. We'll be going over my full YNAB budget at some time, hopefully within the next few weeks. I'll be fully resetting my budget and we'll be starting from scratch. It's been a few years since I did that, and I like to do it every now and then just to make sure that all of my categories and my expenses are correct. Since we are on a financial topic, my recommendation for this week is going to be the Barefoot Investor. Particularly for Australians, and if you don't have a lot of experience in personal finance already, the Barefoot Investor is a great way to start. I think most of the negative things I see about the Barefoot Investor are from people who have more experience in personal finance. If you're just beginning your journey, here's a great place to start. It's the same as Dave Ramsey on the American side, but the Barefoot Investor is more directed towards Australians. So if you are in Australia, it's a really great resource to start with. I will put a link to the Amazon page for that down in the description. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I also stream video games live over on Twitch. I'll link to that in the description as well. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to catch you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.